Yeah.
I did not know it looked like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what a cocoa bean looks like. I know. Yeah. When I saw this first too, I'm like, what? That's disgusting.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So a couple months ago, Charlie and I made a video on why Americans hate European chocolate. So I wanted to clip that out and show you guys. So enjoy.
While us Americans are mindlessly chomping away at our Hershey's bars, some of our friends across the pond are kinda disgusted by what we're eating, even though it tastes good to us. They've said American chocolate tastes like vomit and earwax, called it sour and bitter.
In some parts, it's a matter of taste, yes. But actually, there's a scientific reason why Europeans think our chocolate tastes so bad.
Science.
First, we have to do some debunking.
If you look at the nutrition labels of a European Cadbury bar
And one thing I did get in the comments when I did the reaction to this, all the Europeans will say like Cadbury's not like your typical European chocolate. That's more a British chocolate. It's not like mainland Europe. Mainland Europe has more like Belgium, Netherlands, Switzerland, stuff like that. A lot of them would, according to the comments, the Cadbury is a lot closer to American chocolate than what like a traditional European is. Which again, Cadbury is still way miles different than Hershey's, because Hershey's has like some weird stuff going on, which you'll find out here soon. For real.
And an American Hershey bar, this is what you'll see. All the ingredients listed by net weight. You may note that in the Hershey's bar, the first ingredient is sugar, but in the Cadbury bar, the first ingredient is milk. So you might think, bingo, there's the reason some Europeans say American chocolate is sickly sweet. But actually, you'd be wrong. In the US, milk is weighed in its evaporated, powdered state, while in the UK, it's weighed as a liquid. So actually, they're pretty much the same. The other main difference is that they use different emulsifiers, which smooth the chocolate. Hershey's uses soy lecithin and PGPR, while Cadbury uses E442 and E476. Again, this seems like a big difference. But actually, E476 is just the European name for PGPR.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay.
See, so they're trying to pick apart like what's the differences.
Yeah.
So far, it's like, okay, well, this isn't the reason, So.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Another common argument you might hear is that there's a different amount of cocoa in American versus European bars. The US has
Fat cocoa?
Yeah.
I did not know it looked like that.
Yeah, that's what a cocoa bean looks like. I know. When I saw this first too, I'm like, what? That's disgusting. Like, yeah, look, and look at this barrel.
I thought they were chickpeas or something.
Like, look at this, like right here, this barrel that looks gross.
Yeah.
Like, it don't look like they cleaned it in 2 weeks.
Cocoa in American versus European bars. The US has a requirement for 10%.
It's a slimy,
while EU law dictates that it must be at least 30% cocoa. US law.
Yeah, the 30% cocoa thing in Europe. So over here, it only has to have a minimum of 10% cocoa, right, to be called chocolate. Over in Europe, it has to be 30%, right? So over here, the standard, like Hershey's and like your standard chocolate, normally would only be like the 10, maybe 15%. And they do have higher end, they do have like dark chocolate and stuff here that does have more cocoa. Cause
right.
I get dark chocolate all the time. It's like 85% cocoa. It's really good, but it's not your standard milk chocolate.
Right.
So over there, Hershey's technically wouldn't even be considered chocolate. It doesn't even fit the standards. It's called, called like Cocoa Fantasy or something. So it's like a chocolate flavor imitation kind of is what they look at it as, because it doesn't even meet the standards of, you know what I mean?
Right.
EU law dictates that it must be at least 30% cocoa. US law says that 10% can only be cocoa powder, but the EU's 30% contains cocoa solids, aka both cocoa powder and cocoa butter. So again, they
cocoa
end up
butter's
being
good.
pretty much
Smells
the same.
really good too.
You might be starting to think that this is hopeless. They're practically the same chocolate.
But these theories are focusing on the wrong ingredients. Let's now shift our attention to the most important ingredient, Milton Hershey. It was 1894.
Yeah. How is he the ingredient? You know what I mean? But you'll see, I guess he's plays like a big part in what made the ingredient what it is, or why they use that ingredient. But it's the way that they word it. They're like, the most important ingredient, Milton Hershey. Like they're chopping him up and tossing him in the chocolate bar or something. You know what I mean?
Important ingredient, Milton Hershey. It was 1894 when 37-year-old candy manufacturer Milton Hershey decided to produce sweet chocolate as a coating for his caramels. It was a novel concept for the day,
I love caramel.
considering that milk chocolate was a rare treat for the rich
Caramel,
and
however-
famous. Before this time, the intensive
However you
production
pronounce it.
process just wasn't possible on a large scale. But Hershey found inspiration from Henry Ford's production line and decided to apply that process to chocolate. It was a smashing success, and their flagship factory in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, became the Hershey Chocolate Company. In 1900, the company began producing milk chocolate in bars, wafers, and other shapes. With mass production, Hershey was able to lower the per-unit cost and make milk chocolate for cheap. Hershey had been competing with other chocolate companies to have the cheapest chocolate bar in stores, and therefore the most accessible.
Yeah, and that's how they got so famous too, because you know they're cheaper, they're more accessible. It's just everywhere. You know,
I
so
like
if you
Hershey's.
so if you see something everywhere all the time, you know, and that's all you see, then that's what you end up thinking is,
Right.
you know, that's just what becomes the standard of what you're, you know what I mean? Like when you think of chocolate, you would think, oh, Hershey's, or, you know, if you're from this part of the world.
Being a savvy businessman, he knew that increasing the quality or flavor would result in slim profit margins. So he decided to focus on the back end, aka the accumulation of ingredients. After he fine-tuned his cacao, he decided to focus on the next most important ingredient.
Yeah, cacao, I guess, is the actual, like that gross looking stuff earlier.
Hmm.
It's called, I guess that would be cacao, and then they turn the cacao into chocolate. So then like the percentage that, you know, the 30% or the 10% that's
Mhm.
here, that's the percentage of the cacao.
They put in.
Yeah.
In a chocolate bar, the milk. And at the time, the early 1900s, fresh milk could not be legally stored for longer than 72 hours. That put a real cramp in Hershey's style, considering that after 72 hours, any unused milk
This is
had
where
to be
it starts
thrown
telling you.
out. And having fresh milk in chocolate meant that it couldn't be stored as long, even in bar form. So Hershey developed a process to do something to the milk in 1930. It's actually still a trade secret to this day, but experts speculate that he created a secret process to alter the milk. It kept the milk fresh past 72 hours. It gave Hershey the edge to make the cheapest and most widely accessible milk chocolate.
He done did
But
it.
that process had an unexpected effect on the chocolate itself.
The secret method is known
This is-
today as lipolysis. In lipolysis, enzymes introduced to milk break down fatty globules into smaller, more stable fat molecules. In order to kickstart this process, you first need butyric acid. It's a compound that partially sours the milk, but does give it greater shelf life. The resulting flavor is instantly recognizable. It's also found in Parmesan cheese and vomit. And particularly high quantities of it are found in baby's vomit. It's sour.
You know when Anthony was spitting up there a while back and that nasty sour smell?
It's probably in that formula.
That sour smell
They're-
that you're smelling,
Yeah.
that's the butyric acid.
That they put in.
That's what they're putting in. They put that in the milk. So remember that smell when you're eating that
That's
Hershey's chocolate. We'll see. I mean, look at that guy. He just found out and he done lost his, he lost whatever was in his stomach. It doesn't look like he was eating chocolate though. It looks yellow, but
It's like that cheese.
yeah, he was eating all that Parmesan cheese and he found out what was in it. Although I do love some Parmesan.
And particularly high quantities of it are found in baby's vomit. It's sour and bitter, sometimes in a good way, like pungent cheeses, and sometimes in a bad way, obviously. It was first discovered in 1814 by French scientist Michael Chevrel, who was interested in finding the chemical responsible for the smell of butter that had gone bad. It's also the chemical responsible for that wet dog farmyard smell. It's secreted from dogs' anal glands.
Anal glands. Okay. That's
I've never smelled vomit while eating Hershey's.
right, but you're
I've
used
smelled it in cocoa, like the.
right, but you're also maybe used to it, right? So you weren't, after seeing the video, after I did the reaction to it, I tried some Hershey's and thinking about it, trying to see, can I detect the, there was that slight sourness, but it's like, I didn't really, sometimes you don't see something if you're not looking for it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I was looking for it, and then I did try a little bit of this European chocolate when I did the unboxing. And I've had some others, Toblerone and stuff in the past that, definitely has a sweeter, it doesn't have that sour bitter. You know what I mean? You'll think about it next time. You'll notice.
For that wet dog farmyard smell. It's secreted from dogs' anal glands. So try not to think of that next time you eat a Hershey's Kiss.
But don't worry, the butyric acid in chocolate is from milk.
Today, European chocolates are preserved for similar amounts of
That looks
time
good,
by
though,
using
don't it?
different chemical preservatives. And
Look at that. Do you see what's right here? That's an A for Amy. They put it there just for you, babe.
chocolates are preserved for similar amounts of time by using
There's a V.
different chemical preservatives and specially sealed plastic packaging. But Cadbury still recommends
And that V was off center, just like me.
that their milk chocolate is consumed within a year of it being produced. So does Hershey, so by now they're pretty similar. Lipolysis allowed Hershey's chocolate to take a resounding lead in the American chocolate wars. But World War II is what caused the taste of this chocolate to conquer American palates. During the war, Hershey's chocolate scored a coveted contract to make military D rations for the American Army.
So this is where oh, you're good.
Sorry. Excuse me.
So they're talking about they're getting ready to talk about how they're sending it to the military. The rations, that one channel where the guy eats the rations and stuff, the old school military rations. So,
gross,
there was a lot of Hershey's in that, I noticed too. But so they contracted with the government, World War II, so they're sending the soldiers all over the place with Hershey's in their lunch and whatever, their lunch rations. And check it out.
It scored a coveted contract to make military D rations for the American Army. By 1945, Hershey was producing around 24 million bars a week for soldiers. These bars were a staple in the diets of the hundreds of thousands of soldiers away at war. They were so beloved that Hershey was awarded 5 Army-Navy E-Production Awards. In contrast, Cadbury, Hershey's biggest European competitor, offered up its factory to make airplane parts and manufacture wartime supplies. They didn't manufacture any food at all, and in fact, in Britain, chocolate was rationed.
This allowed Hershey to establish a taste monopoly. Almost every American soldier came home wanting chocolate that tasted the same as the one they'd been eating for years.
Yeah, see, they got used to it.
Did you see that little note that was on the...
Let's go back.
It was a couple, but it said, eat slowly.
How far back? Did I go back too
Maybe
far?
a little bit more.
It goes back. It's like 5
To be
seconds.
eaten slowly in about half hour, can be dissolved by crumbling into a cup of boiling water if desired as a beverage. Okay.
Yeah, because remember, on that one channel where he does the old... Actually, there's a channel, guys. I don't know if you ever seen it. If not, you should check it out. I don't know for sure. It's called like Steve's MREs. I'm sure you could probably search for that on YouTube. He gets old like military rations from like all over, all sorts of militaries, all sorts of, from Britain, United States, China, whatever, right? And old 100-year-old rations, rations from World War II, Vietnam War, whatever. And he'll just open them up, taste test them. But he's done a lot of rations. from World War II that had the chocolate. And what he would do is he would crumble it up and make it into like a cocoa. He would get like the hot water and, yeah, he would just crumble it up and he would stir it up, make it a cocoa beverage or whatever. It's a little dry and obviously he's eating it. It's 60, 70 years old or whatever, you know, so it's even drier.
Yeah.
So it's probably easier for him to eat it.
So that's what Hershey's used to look like.
Yeah, well, at least the army rations. Yeah.
Thousands of soldiers away at war. They were so beloved that Hershey was awarded 5 Army-Navy E-Production Awards. In contrast, Cadbury, Hershey's biggest European competitor, offered up its factory to make airplane parts and manufacture wartime supplies. They didn't manufacture any food at all, and in fact, in Britain, chocolate was rationed.
This allowed Hershey to establish a taste monopoly. Almost every American soldier came home wanting chocolate that tasted the same as the one they'd been eating for years.
Since all of the bars that Hershey made for the government used this top-secret milk stabilization method, soldiers got used to the unique taste. In fact, they got so used to it that it became their new normal. Because of the wild popularity of Hershey's post-World War II, other chocolate companies in the US added butyric acid to their chocolate to mimic the flavor of Hershey's that all the soldiers absolutely loved. It became a staple of American commercial chocolate.
If you're in the US, like me, you probably don't even notice it when you're chowing down on that chocolate bar from CVS.
Today, lipolysis isn't necessary due to chemical advancements in food chemistry. Hershey still does it because the taste is what all of us know and love. Some smaller independent chocolate brands have stopped adding butyric acid to their chocolate in favor of marketing it as similar to European chocolates. With trends moving towards an
But not
appreciation
Hershey's.
of organic, pure foods, Hershey may not be at the top of the chocolate world much longer. But it's hard to beat
doesn't
their
sound like
super
it.
cheap, super accessible chocolate. So don't expect it to go away anytime soon. But Europeans certainly notice, since none of their chocolate companies use the lipolysis method or supplement their chocolate.
So on behalf of Americans, I
all
am
pure.
very sorry that our chocolate tastes terrible to you. But it's not our fault.
Thanks so much for watching.
It's not my
and
fault.
Let us know
I didn't-
if you've ever tasted anything
I didn't have
weird
no
in
part
your
of it.
chocolate.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video and want to watch more, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And as always, make sure you feed the squirrels. Bye.